Well, after just 1 week of football for the Indiana Hoosiers, some bad injury news on the defensive side of the ball that could loom large.
You are Locked On Hoosiers, your daily podcast on the Indiana Hoosiers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, and it is the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. I'm your man, Jacob Goins. I appreciate you being here, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is here, and visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. All right, we got a lot to get to on today's show. An updated college football playoff outlook after just 1 week of college football. Are the Hoosiers in or are they out so far this season? Plus, I want to break down the passing versus rushing numbers and stats and the feel of this Indiana offense after week one and what we could see in week two and why you probably shouldn't be as concerned as some of you might be. But what you should be concerned about, and where there are major concerns, is on the defensive side of the football. And not because we don't trust them, not because they didn't play well in week one. It's because Curt Cignetti on Monday informed us in the media and you, the fans, that some serious injury problems are here. And look, these types of things happen. It's part of football. It's part of sports. It's part of life. But to be dealing with this type of issue after just 1 week of football is definitely not ideal. And it's in the safety spot. It's in the safety room where going into the season, when everybody was healthy and eligible, I say that for a reason, more on that in a moment, we felt pretty good, right? Pretty confident about the safety room for Indiana football, right? You had Amari Farrell on one side. You had Lewis Moore on the other side. Devin Boykin was a transfer coming in. You felt good about Bryson Bonds, who was back for his fifth season at IU. And then you had Byron Baldwin Jr. stepping in as a freshman. You had plenty of options here at the safety spot. Well, Curt Cignetti tells us on Monday what your 5 safeties were is now possibly 3 and could end up being 2 if you're not careful here. Curt Cignetti on Monday tells us that Bryson Bonds has suffered a knee injury in the Old Dominion game, a season-ending knee injury in the Old Dominion game for Bryson Bonds, and his season has quickly come to an end. He's a guy that's been at Indiana all 5 seasons. He's been plagued with injuries, somebody who is expected to be, in my opinion, the go-to backup at the safety spot. You had Farrell at one spot, you had Lewis Moore at the other spot, and Bryson Bonds was going to be the dude who came in when one of them needed a break. If one of them happened to get hurt or just whatever the case may be, Bryson Bonds was that dude. And man, I hate it. I hate it for this guy. Someone who's put in the time, he's put in the work, he's put in the effort. He deserves to be out on the football field. And now his season's over after just 1 week. And I hate it. I mean, God, you just think about all the spring practice you go through and the summer workouts you go through and the fall camp, the grueling fall camp you go through to get ready for a season, and for it all to come to an end as a fifth-year guy after just 1 week, it's heartbreaking, man. It really is. And so I hate it for him and I hate it for this team because you went from 5 down to 4 because a season-ending injury. He's gone. He ain't coming back. And so now you've got to look at it and say, all right, well, we still have 4, right? Everything's okay. We still have 4 guys that we trust in there. Well, apparently that Byron Baldwin Jr. is a nagging injury. We don't really know what it is. Curt Cignetti told us that he's day to day, but that he hopefully is back very soon rather than way down the road. Again, didn't really give a whole lot of details on it yet. Sounds like they may be trying to find a little bit more information, or maybe it is just some nagging thing that they can't get rid of or can't shake or whatever the case may be. But for Byron Baldwin, a guy as a true freshman who doesn't have a start when he's in college, doesn't have a ton of college experience. He's uber talented, uber talented. We love Byron Baldwin and what he's going to be. But the idea that A, you're having to now rely on him to get significant snaps, and B, you may not even be able to rely on him if he can't shake this injury and can't get over this injury and kind of get away from this injury. Not saying, hey, get over it, toughen up. I'm saying move on from this and get healthy here for Byron Baldwin. So let's just talk about this as he can't play either for whatever reason. You're down to three dudes. You're down to three dudes: Devin Boykin, Amari Farrell, and Lewis Moore. All right, well, that's thin, but at least you trust those guys, right? Amari Farrell is your returning guy that you knew was going to be the real deal. Lewis Moore was somebody who we didn't know if we were going to get back, but then has been fighting with eligibility issues. Devin Boykin, again, the transfer, uber talented one that I think will see significant time, even if you were at full strength in the safety spot. But we are still waiting on an official decision on Lewis Moore. Remember, we were hoping to get a firm decision before the season started. That didn't happen. He had his lawyers and a judge from Texas step in, basically write a cease and desist to the NCAA of, hey, our guy's going to play until you come to a decision. Because if you're deeming him ineligible, until you do, we're deeming him eligible, and there's nothing you can do about it. And of course, the NCAA laid down and said, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, all right, we'll hurry up. We'll speed this thing up. Well, that's coming up after this game against Kennesaw State. We'll then know if Lewis Moore is actually eligible to play the rest of his season of college football, which is such a wild and stupid idea to think about, that this young man could play the first two games of the season for college football, and then they come out and say, yeah, we actually, after further review, man, yeah, we don't think you're eligible. Hope you enjoyed it, though. Thanks for playing. How stupid is that, right? But look at this from the Indiana safety room perspective. You just lost one to a knee injury, a season-ending knee injury. You have another one and a freshman who's day-to-day, could play next week, couldn't play the rest of the year. We have no idea. And then your third guy, you're one of your starters, one of the dudes, one of your veterans here, may not even be eligible after this week to play. That leaves you with two guys that you trust, two guys that you can rely on, Amari Farrell and Devin Boykin. Now, can those guys play all the snaps? Sure, but my goodness, what pressure that puts on them, what stress that puts on them, what wear and tear that puts. Even if Lewis Moore can go, you're still putting all of that on three dudes that you truly trust to play the safety position, and that changes your defensive mindset altogether. You can't play a bunch of man because they'll be exhausted the whole time. And are you going to play a 10-yard shell where you just play cover the whole time and just play protective and give up 8 to 10 yards, but don't give up the deep ball to keep your guys healthy? I don't know. I mean, you just have to see. I don't know what that strategy looks like now when your safety room of 5 goes down to 3, possibly 2. That's scary, man. That's really, really scary. And it's concerning, to say the least. And the Hoosiers are going to have to figure something out here, how to move somebody over from a different spot, find a young puppy that wasn't ready to play, and now he's going to have to be ready to play, and get something figured out, because there are major concerns now at this safety spot for Indiana, a safety spot that didn't give up a whole lot of yards this weekend. I mean, the secondary played fine this weekend for Indiana. Colton Joseph for Old Dominion passed for 96 yards, guys. 96 yards. 11 of 22 for 96. They didn't do anything through the air. They had a couple of nice throws, but everything stayed in front. Nothing got beat. Nobody got past you. I mean, secondary played good. But now there are concerns there. If you can't get healthy and you can't get eligible, we'll keep you updated on how that goes. But there are concerns, and Indiana's got to get it figured out. And you got to get it figured out right now. All right, coming up here on Locked On Hoosiers, we stick with football. We move to the offensive side of the ball, because a lot of worries from Indiana fans on the passing game for Indiana. But I like the dominant running game we saw in week 1. I'll tell you why right after this here on the Locked On Hoosiers podcast. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today And see parts on your doorstep tomorrow, or your doorstep tomorrow, that is. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items for the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. If you need parts fast for a project, Supply House has next day delivery. Talk about a game changer right there. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and dedicated support lines. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use the promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Rugiad. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiad Ready. Rugiad Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost your blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours to kick in, Rugiad's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, and on average in just 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. You can even read real customer reviews right now with Rugiad on their website. It's helping a lot of people feel more confident and present in the moment. Head to Rugiad.com/LockedOnCollege and use the code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege and use the promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with precision treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing review. Please visit the Rugiad website for full safety information. All right, welcome back into Locked On Hoosiers. Appreciate you being here, making this your go-to spot for all things Indiana athletics. As we continue talking football on today's show, reminder, we'll talk a little college football playoff outlook coming up in just a little bit. But I want to continue talking about this Indiana team, but now we're going to move to the offensive side of the football. Because we talked a little bit yesterday, and I've seen a lot of Indiana fans concerned by the lack of offensive production from the Hoosiers in week one, especially in Fernando Mendoza's debut, right here in Bloomington. And look, I get it. I do. I get the concerns here, but I think Fernando Mendoza looked fine. I think he looked fine. Was he a little rushed at times? Sure. Was he overly confident in the offensive line and to make plays on his own? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But 18 of 31 for nearly 200 yards isn't bad. He didn't have a pick. He didn't have a touchdown either. He should have, but he didn't. But if Omar Cooper catches that football, he has a touchdown, he has nearly 250 yards, and we probably don't talk about it this way, right? What if he had gone 20 for 30 rather than 18 of 31? Would that have made you feel a little bit better? I just think we were a little harsh on, or some people were a little harsh on Fernando Mendoza in the passing game. But I also want to take you to the receiving room as well, where Indiana was able to find Omar Cooper 2 times for 52 yards, should have been 3 times for nearly 100. You found EJ Williams, who emerged as clearly your third target in the receiving room, 5 catches for 45 yards, which was one of the bigger takeaways on offense. And Elijah Surratt did what he did, 3 catches for 44 yards on what was seemingly a quiet day for him in your leading receiver. You found both of your tight ends, Riley Nowakowski and Holden Stays. You got to throw the football to Jonathan Brady a little bit, who showed that he can be a threat offensively, but special teams is going to be huge for us. So the passing game was fine. And I'm confident that the passing game will get there. I would much rather see Indiana run the football the way that they did in game one than throw the football better than they did in game one. Let me say that again in a more clear way. I'm more impressed and I have more confidence in the Indiana offense as a whole based off how they ran the football in game one compared to the quote lack of throwing in game one. The fact that we ran it for 309 yards, folks, 57 times Indiana ran the football on this Old Dominion team. I know you're supposed to do that. Good. Take what the defense gives you. You were working in a brand new offensive line, brand new running backs other than Kaelon Black. You were bringing in Roman Hemby as a transfer and Lee Beebe Jr. as a transfer. And Fernando Mendoza had a couple of runs in there as well. He had a 9-yard run for this Hoosiers offense. I am happy and excited, and I have confidence because Indiana was able to run the football so effectively. 309 yards on the ground is no joke. 23 carries for Roman Hemby. He eclipsed 100 yards. Kaelon Black had 17 carries for almost 100 yards. He had 92. And Lee Beebe Jr. had 11 carries for 73 yards. I know he had the turnover, but it's fine. He made up for it. And then Mendoza had the scramble and a touchdown. That gives me confidence. That's exciting to me because running the football will keep you in any game across the board. When you play Illinois in a couple weeks, you better be able to run the football. When you go on the road to Iowa, you better be able to run the football. When you go to Eugene and Happy Valley, you better be able to run the football. And again, I know it was an inferior opponent, but that's not a bad Old Dominion team. And that was a defense that had some dudes on it now. I have more confidence and I'm happier that in game one, we're talking about the running game performance compared to the passing game performance. Just me personally. I know there might be some concerns out there, and you may still not be a believer in Mendoza or the offense or the passing game yet, but I'm happier we ran the ball like we did versus if we had thrown the ball for 800 yards and 7 touchdowns. Like, yeah, that would have been cool, but I believe that that's going to get there. I wanted to see the running game. I wanted to see the offensive line. I wanted to see this running back by committee going into the season because I think a lot of people were worried about that too. Like a lot of people were worried about, well, I mean, running back by committee means there's just no real running back one. And I ask you this question coming out of week one. Who is RB1? I would say Roman Hemby, but if it's Kaelon Black, are you going to complain? I'm not. What happens if those two guys can't go or whatever? Not wishing that, just saying, I think Lee Beebe Jr. would be just fine. But that's what we learned after week one. The offensive passing game is going to get there. Fernando Mendoza is the real deal. He's the real deal. Omar Cooper, real deal. He ain't dropping touchdown passes anymore. I promise you. He's got that out of his system. He's not dropping another touchdown pass this year that's that wide open. Elijah Surratt, he's going to get open. But remember, we told you he's also going to be covered just about every single time. And EJ Williams emerged as your go-to third receiver. The offense didn't play bad. Kurt Signetti described it best. On Monday, he said, we dominated this game. We dominated this game. It was firmly in control the entire time. We need the scoreboard to reflect that. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. What if this was 34-14? Would you feel better about it then? I probably would. What if it was 41-14, as it could have been and maybe should have been? I'd feel better about this as well. But folks, this game wasn't close. You threw for 193, they threw for 96. You ran for 309, they ran for 218. But you take away, and I know it's hard to say, just take away their two biggest plays on offense, but take away the two misreads by the Indiana defense on the scrambles from their quarterback, Colton Joseph. Take away a 75-yarder and a 78-yarder. You know what that gives you on offense on the ground? 65 yards. You go from 218 to 65 for Old Dominion. Add that to their 96 total, and they had 161 total yards of offense outside those two big plays. 161 total yards of true offense. Indiana dominated this game. You just didn't cash in when you needed to. Your offense stalled out twice, stalled out several times down there in the red zone. You're having to kick field goals, going for it on fourth down and getting stuff. Those things can't happen. You're going to have to get those fixed. But my point here is Fernando Mendoza in the passing attack will come around and get there. I'm happy that we established a running game, and I hope we carry that with us the entire way, because that will travel no matter where you go, who you play, or what situation you're in. And I trust Fernando Mendoza in this stacked receiving core that I still think could be one of the best in the Big Ten. I trust them to come around when you're going to need them most. That's That's my takeaway from all of this. And if you do that, if the offense, in terms of throwing the football, if it does come around, then yeah, Indiana will be a dangerous offense. If you cash in the red zone, Indiana will be a dangerous offense once again. And now teams have to respect the run game. You stack the box and boom, you got one-on-one on the outside. Go find 13. Go find your dudes. Go find your receivers. And let Fernando Mendoza show you why he could be one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. It's coming, believe me. All right, we'll get to our final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers, kind of zooming out a little bit because I guess we have bracketologies now in college football in the playoff. I didn't think about it, but I guess it kind of makes sense. And folks are already updating their predictions for who's in and who's out after week one. We talk about that and where the Hoosiers could be right after this. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is almost here, literally like 2 days away. I can't wait. And FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. That's incredible, man. Look, you've got opening night, right? It's Dallas Philly on opening night. Then you've got Kansas City, and I believe the Chargers playing on a Friday, and then all the other teams playing on Sunday as well. If you want to go and sprinkle some money over there, put $5 on opening night on Thursday Night Football. If you win, they're going to give you $300 in bonus bets to use on their amazing app. It's quick, it's easy, and the best way to add a little bit more energy to your Sunday afternoon. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers is brought to you by Game Time. College football is back, and I could not be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's really nothing like it. It's the greatest sport on earth. But let's be real, actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. The endless queues, the hidden fees, prices jumping right before you check out. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to you, the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I use it for concerts. I use it for sports. I use it for music, theater, you name it. They got it, and I used it. I pulled up Game Time, and in just a couple of taps, I saw so many amazing deals, okay? I'm talking about your favorite college football games as low as $25 on the Game Time app. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, Locked On College for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, final segment here on Locked On Hoosiers. Again, thank you so much for joining us, making this your first listen or your first watch every single day. And before we move on, just want to remind you and ask you to subscribe to the channel if you have not already on YouTube. You like the video, comment your thoughts down below. Continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel as we are growing by the day over here. So thank you so much for that. And for all of you on our audio platforms of Spotify or Amazon or however you listen to us, have those notifications turned on so you never miss a new episode. And if you're looking for a little reading to do while you're at lunch or in the restroom, or I don't care where you do it, we have a new Substack out that's free for you to subscribe to if you want to be a part of that. We just put a quick little article out almost every single day, so you can check that out. I'll drop the link for it down in the description below of this YouTube channel and on the audio version as well, so you can check out our free Substack as well. Make sure you subscribe, and that'll be sent to your email address every day as well. And I didn't really think about it until I was doing some prep for this show. And I guess we're in the era now where we have college football playoff bracketology. We have college basketball bracketology, right? Now we have college football bracketology because we have a true bracket. And I don't know how I feel about it, but it's cool, right? It is what it is. And Of course, now you've got folks who are already changing and updating their predictions and who they think is going to make it to the college football playoff after week one. And ESPN's put together a bunch of different ones. I've seen a lot of people saying that LSU deserves to be the number one team in college football. And as of this recording, the newest AP poll has not come out yet. They waited until the last game on Monday, TCU and North Carolina, which what a disaster that was for Bill Belichick there in Chapel Hill. But I understand the argument, but LSU is not the number one team in the country. Ohio State is. Ohio State's the number one team in the country. LSU can be too if you want. You can put them that high. I don't think that's the case. I think they're a top 5 team, but they're not the number one team in college football. Heather Dennett, though, she disagrees. ESPN, she says, nope, put them in. They're the number one seed in her latest college football playoff bracket. She has them at 1, Ohio State at 2, Miami at 3. I don't even know if I have the energy to say how much I disagree with that. Carson Beck and Miami did not look good. Can we all agree on that? They didn't look good. They looked fine. They looked better than I thought they would, to be completely honest with you, but they didn't look like the third best team in college football. Absolutely not. Penn State at 4, fine. Florida State at 5, pump the brakes, chill out, pump the brakes. They beat Alabama. It was more about the Crimson Tide than it was Florida State, but Castellanos is the real deal, and Gus Malzahn calling plays down there on offense. They're going to be decent, but they're not going to be the 5th best team in college football. Georgia at 6 is low. Oregon at 7. They look good in the opener. I hate to say it, but they did. Tennessee at 8. Tennessee looked pretty good against Virginia Tech. I can't lie. They put up, 45 points. Joey Aguilar might be the answer there, and that Tennessee defensive front might be the best in college football. So that's pretty good. Notre Dame at 9. Look, here's my problem with Notre Dame. I don't think they're all that good. CJ Carr looked The defense was fine. Jeremiah Love may not make it through the football season. And the fact of the matter is they better beat Texas A&M this weekend because they have no big games on their schedule left and they won't have the resume. But if they're 10-2, the playoff committee will put them in anyway because of the logo. Texas at 10, they'll be fine. South Carolina at 11, they've got to figure out their offensive line issues. That was brutal in that game against Virginia Tech because Lenora Sellers may not make it through the season. Clemson at 12, that's still a really good football team. I'm telling you, Clemson beat themselves and had every chance to beat LSU and just decided not to do it. Indiana's not in there, though, as you probably heard. And I think there's work to do for the Hoosiers to get back into a college football playoff discussion. Again, I have not seen the latest AP poll. It has not been released as of this recording. I don't expect us to move a whole lot from that 20th spot, and we probably won't unless there's just pure chaos ahead of us until we start winning some games. You beat Illinois? Yeah, you'll move up quite a bit. You beat Iowa? Yeah, you'll move up quite a bit. And you get your 2 big upsets, and yeah, you'll move up quite a bit. But for Indiana, we can't worry about the playoff right now. Let's worry about us. Let's worry about our injury concerns. Let's worry about our offensive production. Let's worry about our special teams. Let's get everything moving in the right direction. You beat Kennesaw. You beat Indiana State. You're feeling good. And then you prepare for the Fighting Illini. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Hoosiers. Again, thank you so much for being here, making this your go-to spot, your first listen, first watch every single day. We're having a ton of fun as we continue talking football, getting you ready for the game on Saturday morning against Kennesaw State. We will go live right after that game on our Locked On Hoosiers YouTube channel, so make sure that you're here for that. And we're still talking basketball with one big visit in the books and more on the way. We talk about that and more coming up on tomorrow's show. Okay, Hoosier fans. So until then, stay safe, and I'll talk to you later.